Hi, I'm Tess Lord, and I'm a summer naturalist intern here at Dorothy Pico. Today I'll be showing you guys a project called Plants Eat, and it's called that because we will be seeing how plants eat and how that affects the color of their petals and how water passes through them. The supplies you'll need are a clear cup, some food coloring, scissors, and a white carnation. You can use any color or any type of flower. It's easiest for carnations. They change quicker than, say, like a daisy, which would take up to 10 days. Or another quick and easy option is celery. All right, I'm going to be showing you the steps to make your Plants Eat experiment. You're going to start off by adding water to a clear cup. I'm doing it about a little bit more than halfway. And then you add your food coloring, and it's recommended that you add 2 to 5 drops, but through a little bit of experimenting, I've discovered that you need to add quite a bit in order for the color to show up in the petals. So I'm going to do a pretty hefty amount. And then the next step will be to cut the stem of your flower or your celery, whatever you choose. And you should cut it at least 1 to 2 inches. But because this is such a long stem, I'm going to trim it a bit shorter. And then from there, you can go ahead and mix up your water and your food coloring a little bit, and you will leave your flower in the water. And as the time goes on, you'll be able to see the color transfer up into the petals of the flower. The colors I will be experimenting with are red, blue, green, purple. And then I'm also going to be trying to do something where I can see how it affects the color if I split the stem in half, and I'm going to put half of it in red and half of it in blue, and we'll see how that affects the colors that show up on the petal.
Plants get water and nutrients through the roots. In cut flowers, there are no roots, so the water travels directly into the stems and to the petals. There are 3 factors that make this work. First, we will talk about capillary action. The xylem is a tube-like tissue in the stem. It transports water through the plant. Water molecules are attracted to the surface of the xylem because there are weak electrical attractions. This is known as adhesion. Water automatically moves up the stem because of adhesion, and the resulting movement is called capillary action. The next factor is called cohesion. Not only are the water molecules attracted to the xylem cells, but the water molecules are also attracted to one another, and this is known as cohesion. Because of cohesion, water molecules fill up the xylem as they move up and act as a continuous stream of water. The last factor is known as transpiration. Water evaporates from a plant through transpiration. As the water evaporates from the petals, and any part of the plant that is exposed to air, a negative pressure is created in the xylem. The negative pressure causes suction that pulls the water up, just like when you suck on a straw.
So the flowers have been sitting in the colored water for about 5 hours, and it's exciting to see that there are some pretty cool results. For the red flower, it started to turn a pink color, and it's really pink at the center, and then around the edges of the flower petals there are like little lines where it's very dense in color, and that's very cool. And you can especially see that the line around the edges of the flower petal on the blue. And an exciting thing was that the color or the flower that we split between the red and the blue actually split right in half, and you can see that this side is red and this side is blue. So that was an exciting result. The green isn't quite as bright as the red and the blue, but that was kind of what we had expected to happen. But it still has, again, the dark center and then the color around the edges. Okay, it was a bit of a bummer to see that this purple flower, or the flower in the purple water, didn't actually change much color at all. There's a little tiny bit around the edges, but it's very difficult to see. And that's kind of what happens with science experience sometimes. Sometimes you have failures and sometimes you have great success, but it's all about the process and the learning you do along the way. We are going to leave these overnight so we can hopefully get even brighter and more vibrant colors, and we'll take pictures of the changes, and hopefully we'll be able to see some purple come through on this flower. Alright, we have our results from the overnight experiment, and as you can see, the colors are a bit more vibrant, except there is one that kind of stands out. This is the one that we had intended to be purple, but unfortunately it didn't work out as we had hoped. After adding more food coloring, we were able to get some color in the outer edges, but it is still a little bit more blue than it is purple, and that's just because I added a little bit too much blue and not enough red. This experiment is a lot of fun because there are a lot of different ways that you can change it. So the first thing that I would do is I would change and play with the concentration of the water and the food coloring to see if that affects the amount of color in the flower. The second thing that I would do was I would change, or I would play with the length of a stem to see if it affects the amount of time it takes for the color to be absorbed to the flower. Another thing, the third I would try, would be to try splitting the stem multiple times and see how many different colors that it could absorb. So I did 2 here, but I would maybe try splitting it 3 or 4 times and see what the results look like. And the last thing I would do is I would try try soaking a flower in multiple colors, but at different times. So you could start off by soaking it in red and letting the color be absorbed to the flower, but then switching to blue after it had absorbed some color and see how it affects when you soak multiple colors for just one flower. It's important to only try one of these experiments at a time and not multiple, so you're able to see how each variable affects the results of your experiment. Those are just some of the ideas that I was thinking about trying, but there's still a lot of other things you could do, like potentially switching the flowers and not using the carnations. Another option is to use celery because it does absorb the water so quickly. Another thing that you could do would be switching the medium and maybe try soaking it in orange juice, pop, Gatorade, salty water, just kind of having fun with it and seeing what you can do. I'd love to see what you guys come up with, and if you give this experiment a try, make sure to take pictures along the way and tag us on Facebook and Instagram and check out our videos on YouTube. Thanks so much, and believe me when I say this experiment is a lot of fun.